Hello, we want to look at adaptation today. Adaptation. Adaptation are things that help organisms to survive in their environment. Like human beings, we have nose, and the essence of nose that we have is so that we can breathe. So we use nose to breathe. We use eyes to see. So eyes help us to see dangers around us, to see food that we will have to go and get to it. So we have eyes, we have ears so that we can hear. Also, plants, they have leaves so that they can trap sunlight energy because they don't take ready made food like animals. They get their energy from sun, so they must have leaf, and leaf contains chlorophyll that helps them to get their own energy from the sun. So the leaves in plants that are, they are adaptative feature of plants. Also, if you look at animals in water like fish, they have some features that allow them to swim because every organism, every consumer animal must be able to move around so that it can move to each source of food. So the features that allow fish to swim, they are the adaptative features of the fish or aquatic organisms. So, no matter where an organism stays or lives, there are features that allow it to survive in that environment. Without those adaptative features or without those things, the animal cannot survive in that environment. So, that is what we call adaptation. Things that help an organism to survive and live where it lives. We have adaptative feature for terrestrial organisms. We have adaptative feature for aquatic organisms, and we have adaptative feature for arboreal organisms. Now, for terrestrial organisms, in the land we have plants and we have animals. There are features that allow animals to live in the land, on land, and there are features that help organisms to live or plants to live on land. These features are called the adaptation of terrestrial organisms. For plants or for animals, we have to walk to move to our source of food because the land is a solid ground. We should be able to walk on it. So the leg given to us is an adaptative feature for terrestrial organisms. Most terrestrial animals do walk. They can walk to move to their source of food or to run away from a danger. Animals also have skin that prevent them from losing excess water because the sun is somehow much in contact with us. So if our body, internal body, is not protected, we will lose everything that is inside us. So the skin is also an adaptive feature. Our eyes is an adaptive feature. Our ears is an adaptive feature. So these things are adaptative feature of an organism. You can either say adaptive or you say adaptative. Adaptative. Adaptative features of the organisms. You can name them. There are so many. Depending again on where the animal lives, its adaptative feature may vary slightly. Like animals that live in deserts, they have some few other features that allow them to survive in deserts that some other animals do not have. Like human beings, some human beings cannot survive, or some animals cannot survive in the deserts. because they don't have some extra features that allow other animals to survive in deserts, although all of them are terrestrial organisms or terrestrial animals. But some features, extra features, allow some organisms to survive in certain place that others cannot survive. Camel, for instance, can survive without water for a very long time. Human beings, we cannot do that. We cannot survive droughts, or we cannot survive, or we cannot live without water for a very long time the way that camel does. And it has a way inside it that anytime it sees water, it will be able to drink enough and store it, that the water that is stored will be able to last for a very long time. We human beings, we cannot store such amounts of water in our body. So that special feature that allows camel to survive in a desert is an adaptative feature for terrestrial animals in the deserts. We also have adaptative feature for terrestrial plants in the deserts. Like some of them, some plants in the desert, they have succulent leaves so that water will not leave their body easily, because water doesn't come to deserts often. So the little water that comes, they'll be able to trap them, absorb them, and store them for a very long time. Some of them, their leaves are spiny, like whistle pine, so that they will not lose much water from a transpiration. The larger the leaf, the more ability the water will leave it through what we call transpiration. Transpiration is the process by which leaves lose their water or excess water in the leaves. So these plants, because they know that they don't really have enough water in them, they find a way to conserve the little one they have so that they will not lose much water. So that is an adaptative feature of a desert plant, which is a terrestrial plant also. Then other animals, some that live in what we call savanna, some that live in some other different classifications of terrestrial environments, they have different features that also help them to survive in those places. The one that is very, very important is the adaptative feature for terrestrial organisms that live in desert. You should know that one. That one always comes out in exam. Then adaptative feature for animals that also live in deserts. Then and the general adaptative feature for animals, like the ability to walk, ability to take in breath, then ability to grasp things with their hands, animal for the animals, and then the ability to see. So these are common adaptative feature for terrestrial organisms. And I've also talked about that of plants. Some plants, they have deep roots, especially desert plants. They have deep roots so that they'll be able to tap water from down inside the earth when the water on the surface of the ground is not enough. So these are adaptative feature for animals that live for plants that live in deserts. They have long taproots. Then some other ones, they also have other features that allow them to survive in the deserts. And the general features of a plant that we have, the trunk, the leaf, and some other things, they help them to live wherever they are. So these are the things we have in this lesson, and I believe that this is very clear. Thank you.